r/askreddit. What rules were put in place because of you? As a kindergartner, I once fell asleep in the bus. When I woke up, the bus was in the garage and I had to yell to get someone to get me out. So to this day, every bus driver in my school district needs to walk to the back of the bus and check every seat before they park the bus. Seems like a good rule to have. Something similar happened to me in kindergarten. My bus driver never went by my house, she went to everyone else's and dropped everyone off. I was the last one on the bus and she must have forgotten about me. She went to a subsidized housing complex and just left me on the bus with the door closed. Eventually, someone from the bus company came and found me and brought me home. I never saw that bus driver again. I honestly wonder how my parents convinced me to ever ride the bus again. I was so scared. I wouldn't even go with the person from the bus company until they got their cell phone out and called my mom, and I talked with her and knew it was safe. I do know that that bus driver didn't walk to the back of the bus and check every seat. I also wonder what she was doing just parking the bus and leaving it at some random apartments. The situation always seemed a bit sus to me. Minor 1. But when I was in elementary school, we had one of those bridge building challenges using toothpicks and hot glue. My partner and I realized if we just coated the entire thing with a thick-ass layer of hot glue, it would make our bridge strong as hell. So we used like a full pack of hot glue sticks, like 20 of them. It was more glue than toothpicks. So after that, they limited the number of glue sticks you could use. I did something similar in school. They were having us build bridges out of dry spaghetti noodles and gumdrops. The one that held the most weight would win. It was a physics class and they expected us to build elaborate lattice structures with gumdrops anchoring the ends of each strand of pasta. The idea was probably to learn something about force and angle and such. Instead, I figured out that if I squished the gumdrops into a paste with my hands, they basically became glue, and used that to turn multiple strands of spaghetti into larger rods. I won, but my teacher looked pained about it. In history class in high school, there was about 10 of us really close friends. We would take every opportunity to make "your mom" jokes. A couple months into class, the teacher made us sign a treaty, promising to stop making fun of each other's moms. We signed it, and started making fun of each other's dads. Improvise. Adapt. Overcome. I got our HR box taken away at work because the HR lady threatened not to pay us if we missed a clock in or clock out. In our defense, the phones didn't always work and the clock-in system was really unreliable. And I printed out the law stating that was illegal, highlighted it, and put it in her box when no one was around. She threw an unholy fit and tried to figure out who put it in her box, and from then on everything had to be handed in personally law. I got the Ryan Steakhouse buffets in Louisville, Kentucky to put baby changing stations in the men's bathrooms back in the 90s. At a ballpark I worked concessions at, they had an all-you-can-eat promo day where tickets were more expensive than usual, but concessions around the stadium were free, excluding alcohol. So I worked that day and of course it was chaos, but when the line started dying down later in the game, they started sending some of the hourly employees home, myself included. But of course, I didn't go home. After I clocked out, I stayed in the stadium and got some cheeseburgers and Philly steak and soda and found an empty seat in the crowd for the last few innings. Next year, same promo, but new rule for staff. If you get sent home early, you have to actually leave the stadium. Golf users can no longer return an unlimited number of balls for tokens. Quote, when I was maybe 12-ish, there was a kids' outdoor play area. Go-karts, batting cages, and indoor was something like a Chuck E. Cheese, token-based games, etc. You could get a wristband for maybe $15 and it'd get you unlimited rides, mini-golf and some other activities. Everything else cost tokens. When you finished golfing, you'd get 2 tokens for bringing your ball back. Unlimited golf, 50 cents worth of play value inside. So my friends and I would go there, speed run 2 golf games and give the balls back. $1 to our pockets. Later on we started just fishing balls out of the water hazards and turning them in. Subtly at first and then in bulk later. The guys working there didn't care or actively laughed at it. So we'd have a few hundred tokens. Then we started selling them 5 for $1. We stopped buying the unlimited bands. I'd bike there and earn $25 in a couple of hours. Management eventually caught on and altered the token for ball exchange. Lil Hustler. I don't think it was a rule, but it was kind of an unspoken thing. I was the only brown kid in my school and would act out for attention, acceptance, and my classmates would get a huge laugh out of it, but I would be sent to the principal's office every day. I think my principal knew I wasn't a bad kid just looking for attention. He moved a permanent desk into his office for me, and every day when I got sent down I would sit there. Had my name on it and everything. By the end of that school year I would pack snacks for both of us, lol. Haven't thought about that principal in a while, but I hope he is well and was patient with other kids as he was with me. Update. I tracked down what school he's currently working at, called to find out when he'd get a free moment, and they said he makes time to speak to parents and students after school at 3:15. Going to wait in the office until he's free. Wish me luck, hopefully he remembers me. Update number 2. I met with him today. He didn't have time to speak to me directly after school went out, but I did wait until he had time a couple hours later. He remembered me very clearly, mentioned that he attended both mine and my baby sister's high school graduation. He was our elementary school principal, so it's sweet to know he went out of his way to keep up with all of his students. He then offered to buy me a hat. I forgot, but he confiscated one of my hats because I was wearing it in class, lol. I'm glad everyone encouraged me to reach out. It took me a while for this update because I didn't think I would be so moved by him remembering me. In middle school I would use Sharpies to tattoo myself. Other kids thought it was cool, so I started charging $1 per drawing wherever they wanted. Principal found out, and after I wouldn't stop, she put a ban on Sharpies for the entire school. Even the teachers couldn't bring them in. I'm a tattoo artist now. I bet you did a ton of that cool S-letter thing that every middle schooler is obsessed with drawing. This took me way too long. If it doesn't work, it was the damn cool S. Edit. It didn't work. Edit 2. Of course my first awards happened to be from me embarrassing myself. Our company operates on Discord, and a lot of people just made it so their personal Discord became their professional Discord rather than making a second account. It made it easy for managers, including me, to invade the lives of their employees by pinging them when they saw a green light in Discord. I wrote a long email to the directors about the separation of work and home life since we are a complete remote company. I suggested that we make it a rule for people to have a work Discord that they log out of at the end of the day so that any messages sent after hours can be dealt with the next day. Since we are a remote company, people are in many time zones, and I don't want to invade someone's evening or early morning when I am in the midst of my workday. The directors agreed, and it became a thing. It is annoying to juggle 2 accounts, but it is better than people in different time zones being up in each other's shit all the time. What I would like to happen is that we use Slack instead, but everyone likes Discord. Male students are not allowed to wear hair accessories. We had the rule about hair not touching collars, couldn't be past eyebrows, or over the ears. I grew my hair out and just put it up in headbands. After receiving multiple detentions and fighting them and winning, the next year, they made the rule. Although you could theoretically use just gel to form your hair into a beehive. Or turn it into a bun. Or braid it from the nape of your neck up to your forehead and then back down the center. So many choices. Liberty spikes. My elementary school was located in the center of the neighborhood, and my 5th grade class was the first to get outdoor trailers for classrooms. We'd ask for bathroom passes and then walk home. Next year they built a fence around the school. My junior high made a rule against yo-yos in class after I tried to do a trick and my yo-yo flew across the room and broke a glass beaker set. I'm sorry, guys. At least you didn't kill goldfish like Bart. English media class in high school. End of year project was to film a movie. Me and 3 other guys decided to film a gangster movie. Long story short, while filming the final shootout scene behind a local post office, we were swarmed by police and almost got shot. One of the guys got arrested and my teacher almost got fired. The following year, the curriculum was changed and the final project was now an essay to be completed on a popular movie. Edit. I guess I'll add more details. We were filming a shootout scene behind the post office. What we didn't know was that there was a retirement residence right next to it. Apparently several of the residents called 911 about a bunch of kids shooting each other outside. 5 police cruisers rolled up and surrounded us. They all jumped out with guns drawn. Drop the gun. Drop the gun. Get on the ground. We were all face down on the pavement with guns to our heads. Amin. Later, one cop is like, they're fake. They're all fake. The officers were upset. They ran our names and unfortunately, the one guy that had nothing to do with anything gets arrested. I felt so bad. He wasn't a part of the class. Just last second, we asked if he'd help us film and he agreed. They take the rest of us back to school where we're sitting in the office as a police officer reams out our teacher and a principal. I almost shot a bunch of kids. How the fuck are you allowing this to happen during school hours? What kind of project allows guns? Fun times. Edit 2. I have to be honest. The cops weren't being that bad. I mean, they thought they were driving into a shootout. They didn't know what to expect. As soon as they realized that the guns were fake, they let us up off the ground. We weren't even handcuffed. I've had several negative interactions with police, but this one wasn't one of them. They were just doing their job. I put a croissant in one of those hotel toasters. It soon became engulfed in flames and needed extinguishing. Next day at breakfast they made a sign that said, "If you'd like your croissant toasted, please ask a member of staff." How? If it's the kind of toaster I'm thinking of, the croissant gets stuck when it reaches the back and the belt continues to move. Stuck soft bread catches on fire quickly in the back of the toaster. ETA. I worked at a restaurant that uses these toasters. Our croissants were always very soft and flaky. We would unstick them with our long bread knives. Local amusement park added a "no blindfolds on roller coasters" rule because of me. When I was in middle school, my friend and I thought it would enhance the overall experience if we blindfolded ourselves on the biggest roller coaster at a local amusement park. We got one of those pictures they take on the ride and there we are, blindfolded in the middle of a tunnel, having the time of our lives. Looking back, we easily could have strangled ourselves or worse because we literally just used scarves tied around our heads. Next year we went back to the same roller coaster and they had added a "no blindfolds or loose accessories" to the list of rules before the ride. My younger brother was always late to school, small school, and was tardy. He figured out if he just skipped first period and went to second he was counted as being on school and no late penalty because he was at second period on time. They changed this the following year. People really need to look at what behavior the rules are encouraging. I did something similar. 5 minutes late equals absent, so if I was 5 minutes late I just wouldn't go. Missed a lot of school. I had a soccer coach who would make the whole team run if one of us was late to practice, so my teammates and I made a rule that if you were going to be late, you wouldn't come. Coach caught on eventually, we confessed, and no more running if one of us was late. Nothing sucks like group punishment for an individual's actions. I used to ride on the bottom area of the shopping carts at our nearest grocery store. I thought it was fun to put my hands on the front of it, sliding them along the ground while the cart was moving. Yes, I was gross. One sticky spot on the ground later and my hand was pulled back and thumb went right under the wheel. Crunched my little thumbnail and my mom had to remove it. Anyway, the store put up signs after that saying it's against the rules for kids to ride in the bottom of carts. One of my favorite childhood moments sometime in 3rd grade. I got watermelons banned from handball. Watermelons in our school were when you could duck under the ball in place of hitting the ball against the wall. Only your torso or head were allowed to go under the ball and count as a watermelon. My fine moment came when I made a diving leap head first on a low hit because I knew my opponent was too far away to recover. Unfortunately I did it face first and I slid along the gritty concrete and skinned half my face off. I had to wear a face bandage for at least a month. I made it. Everyone agreed it counted as a watermelon. I won that round and had to go to the nurse's office. 100% would do it again. The next day watermelons were banned and everybody hated me while high-fiving me at the same time. Back in the day a radio station had a weekly trivia contest. The prize was a free pizza and movie rental. Somehow my mom figured out which book they were using for the trivia questions. She bought it and memorized all the answers. Each week we would call in immediately. Sometimes we were the first, but even if we weren't it didn't matter because other people were usually just guessing. We won almost every time. Even though we changed up who would actually make the call, they eventually figured out we were all from the same household. So they made it a rule you couldn't win if your family had already won in the last month or whatever. Up till then, we enjoyed a lot of free pizzas. Some guys at the local telephone company were call jamming any radio station giveaway in my large Midwestern city. All the stations banned any telco employee from winning. Jerry was an almost daily winner. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more Ask Reddit videos.